The bright Las Vegas sunlight forced its way through thick curtains, stabbing into Emily Carter's exhausted eyes. Her head pounded like a hammer, her mouth dry and tasting faintly of tequila and regret. The first thing Emily registered was the merciless headache. The second, far worse, was the weight of a tanned, solid male arm draped across her waist. "Damn it," she whispered, her voice scratchy like sandpaper on steel. Forcing herself to breathe, Emily gently pulled the blanket higher and turned her head slowly. Right beside her, a man was sleeping deeply, annoyingly handsome, with tousled chestnut hair and parted lips. On his finger gleamed a gold wedding band. Emily's eyes darted down to her own hand, an identical ring. A digital clock on the nightstand accused her in angry red digits, 11:27 a.m. 3 hours past the time she should have left to prep for her big culinary presentation at the Food Expo. Before she could piece together the drunken shards of memory, the man next to her stirred, opening deep gray-blue eyes that locked onto hers. He smirked, his husky voice laced with mischief. "Good morning, wife." Emily's heart almost stopped. She jolted upright, clutching the blanket around her like a makeshift shield. "What? Did you just call me?" Her voice cracked from the shock. The man yawned lazily, that half-smile infuriatingly perfect, like a toothpaste commercial come to life. "Liam Reynolds. Nice to meet you. And according to that certificate over there," he jerked his chin at a crumpled piece of paper on the nightstand, "we got married last night." Emily felt her insides melt into molten lead. Fragments flickered, neon lights, a DJ shouting for another round, the last tequila shot, her laughter as someone hoisted her over a broad shoulder. Had last night really turned her into the wife of a total stranger? Seeing her on the verge of passing out, Liam nonchalantly extended his hand, as if they were meeting at a formal business pitch. "Pleasure being your husband, Emily Carter." Emily stared at the marriage certificate, her hand trembling slightly. Her messy signature sat next to Liam Reynolds's, the living legacy of Reynolds Resorts, a billion-dollar hotel empire. "This can't be real," she muttered. I just had a few drinks. We couldn't have actually gotten married." Liam sat up, lazily, but with eyes that left no room for jokes. He flipped open his phone, scrolling through a series of photos Emily only glimpsed. The two of them kissing in front of a neon Elvis statue. Emily perched on Liam's shoulders, waving the marriage certificate while strangers in the bar cheered. "You bought champagne for the entire casino, remember?" Liam reminded her, his tone half teasing, half helpless. "All your roulette winnings, gone." Emily buried her face in her hands. She had come to Las Vegas to promote her carefully crafted Mexican dishes at the Food Expo. She'd never intended to turn herself into a living tabloid headline. She stumbled off the bed, still clutching the bedsheet around her like an improvised robe. Liam leaned against the bathroom doorframe, watching her with an amused spark flickering in those stormy gray-blue eyes. "I need to leave. I have to get back to Mexico City. I need to," Emily stammered. "Emily, you don't get it," Liam cut her off, holding his phone right in front of her. On the screen was the Twitter feed of a notorious gossip site. Liam Reynolds marries mystery chef in wild Vegas wedding. Below it, a sea of hashtags. Vegas wedding, chef and heir, Reynolds scandal. She scrolled quickly, each comment like a blade. Who is she? Gold digger? Has Reynolds lost his mind? Emily's throat dried up. Her hands shook as she grabbed her own phone. 47 missed calls from Sarah, her best friend and partner at the small restaurant she'd fought so hard to build. Dozens of messages from her mother, her younger sister, and unknown reporters. Meanwhile, Liam calmly dropped into the armchair, dialing with a voice so low and clipped it sent a chill down her spine. "Grandfather!" "It's Liam." "About last night. Yes, it's true." Though he didn't put it on speaker, Emily could hear the old man's roar even across the room. Liam clenched his jaw, shooting her a look. For the first time, his carefree mask cracked to reveal tension beneath. He hung up. The air felt thick, as if a hurricane waited just outside the window. "My grandfather, Liam said softly, voice velvet wrapped around steel, has ordered me not to annul this marriage. If I do, the company's stock will crash, and I'll be thrown out of the board of directors. Emily's mouth fell open. Words failed her. One impulsive night had turned her into a threat to a corporate dynasty. So, what do you want from me? She whispered. Liam pressed his lips into a tight line, eyes locked on hers, no trace of his usual mischief. You have to stay. We'll keep this marriage, at least in the public eye, until the scandal dies down. After that, if you want to disappear, I won't stop you. Emily felt her head spin. The dazzling Vegas sunlight mocked her through the window. What had started as a dream had twisted into a nightmare she couldn't wake up from. Emily sat frozen on the edge of the bed, her dazed eyes glued to the PR disaster Liam had just laid bare. Her hand trembled every time her phone buzzed with yet another notification. Reporters, tabloids, gossip bloggers, all digging into the life of an unknown chef who had overnight become Mrs. Liam Reynolds. She looked up, her voice raspy. You say I have to stay? Stay how? Be your decorative doll? Liam leaned back in the chair, arms folded across his chest. For a moment, the carefree playboy facade was gone, replaced by a man calculating an escape plan for them both. Not a doll, he said slowly. We'll pretend. We'll be the picture-perfect couple for the press, the parties, the cameras. 6 months. I promise. Then we'll divorce quietly. No one loses. Emily let out a bitter laugh. You don't lose. But what about me? I lose my restaurant, my reputation. Who'll trust a chef who married and divorced a Reynolds without being branded a gold digger? Her words hit Liam square in the conscience. He was silent for a few seconds before stepping closer, lowering himself to meet her eyes. His voice came out deeper, stripped of any mockery. I'll make it up to you. Emily Carter, I'll fund your new restaurant. In the best part of Mexico City, a fully equipped kitchen, a staff you pick yourself, no one but you decides the menu. It'll be your legacy, not mine. Emily narrowed her eyes. You think I can be bought that easily? It's not buying you. Liam shook his head. It's fair. You don't want to be my wife? Fine, but we're stuck together now. At least turn this mess into the chance to build your dream. She went quiet. Images flickered. Her cramped old kitchen, unpaid bills, sleepless nights worrying about rent, a restaurant in Roma or Condesa, something she thought would take 10 years of penny pinching. And, black and white? Emily asked, her tone like ice. A written prenup, financial terms, creative rights. You'll sign everything? Liam smiled, this time genuinely, no trace of arrogance. My lawyer will handle it. You'll have everything in writing, even a clause that I can't interfere. Emily closed her eyes, inhaling deeply. When she opened them, she looked straight into those storm-gray eyes, seeing not just a reckless heir, but a business partner. Fine, 6 months. You keep your image, I build my restaurant. After that, we're done. Liam extended his hand, palm open, inviting her to seal it. Deal. Emily gripped the sheet one last time, then slowly placed her hand in his. Deal. After signing the agreement with Liam, the first thing Emily did was catch the earliest flight back to Mexico City. She needed to face the one person she never wanted to lie to, her mother. Maria Carter lived in a modest house on the outskirts of the city, where the scent of freshly baked cornbread and cinnamon always lingered in every corner. When she saw Emily shuffle into the kitchen, dark circles under her eyes, Maria simply put on more hot water and poured her daughter a cup of chamomile tea. You scared me half to death with those rumors online, Maria said calmly, though her eyes brimmed with concern. Emily buried her face in her calloused hands, hands shaped by countless hours in the kitchen. She told her mother everything. Vegas, tequila, Liam Reynolds, the 6-month agreement, the restaurant clause. No secrets, no sugarcoating. Every word peeled open a raw corner of her heart. Maria listened without interrupting. She nodded occasionally, squeezing Emily's hand now and then as if to lend her strength. "When your father left," Maria began slowly, "I thought my world had collapsed. But because of you, I learned that what's broken can be rebuilt. A tiny kitchen, a warm meal, that was enough." She looked deep into Emily's eyes, her gaze unwavering and full of pride. "If you believe this deal won't make you lose yourself, then do it. I just need to know you're still the Emily I raised, stubborn, talented, and the best cook in the world." Emily laughed through her tears, the warmth of the chamomile tea seeping into the cold corners of her fear. "Always stand behind you," Maria whispered. "My door's always open for you to come home. But if you have a chance to make your dream real, I want to see you do it, Emily." 1 week after her heart-to-heart with her mother in Mexico City, Emily Carter was back in Las Vegas. This time, she wasn't checking into a strange hotel. She was moving into the lavish home of her husband on paper, the Reynolds estate, just 10 minutes from the bustling strip. The automatic gates swung open as the sleek black car approached. Through the tinted window, Emily saw manicured lawns, tall palm trees swaying under the desert sun, and at the end of the gravel driveway, a Mediterranean-style villa. White stucco walls, terracotta roof tiles, white balconies overlooking the distant Nevada mountains. James Cooper, driver and head of security, opened her door. Mrs. Davis, the long-serving housekeeper, stood waiting by the massive rose-carved wooden door. "Welcome home, Mrs. Reynolds," she said evenly, though curiosity flickered in her eyes. "Just Emily, please," Emily smiled softly, pulling her suitcase inside. Inside, cool air from the ever-running AC swept over her skin. High ceilings, crystal chandeliers, plush carpets, the place screamed wealth she'd never known. But the only thing that made her heartbeat race was the frosted glass double doors at the end of the east hallway. The kitchen. Pushing them open, Emily stood spellbound. Gleaming industrial gray appliances, a marble island, a spice rack that stretched an entire wall, top-of-the-line ovens she'd only seen in culinary magazines. Liam had had it all redone in the 3 days she'd been away with her mother. "Do you like it?" Liam's voice came from the doorway. He wore a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled up, hair slightly tousled. Not so different from that fateful Vegas night, except now, something softer lingered in his eyes. "You did all this for me?" Emily turned, her expression unreadable. "For us," Liam corrected, a hint of a smile playing at his lips. "An unhappy chef makes a terrible wife for the cameras." Emily let out a quiet laugh, saying nothing more. She tied on her first apron in the new kitchen, fingers gliding across the cool marble, like touching an old dream made real. The sizzle of butter in a hot pan, the sharp aroma of onions. The kitchen came alive around her. Liam leaned against the doorway, eyes locked on her. He liked how she bit her lower lip when tasting broth, the soft clink of her spoon against the pot, the laser focus rare among those who usually surrounded him. Their first dinner as a married couple was pollo en molo poblano, the dish Emily had cooked for her mother as a farewell. Liam didn't normally care for spicy chocolate sauce, but he cleared his plate and reached for seconds. "Now I see why you dared talk back to me that first night," Liam said, lips still tinged with sauce. "You're dangerous with a frying pan." Emily laughed, the sound echoing through the grand dining hall, melting the stiff formality. In the days that followed, they were two separate planets accidentally colliding. Emily tested new recipes. Liam happened to stop by, shared breakfasts, late-night coffee, a few stolen glances. Between the scent of butter, fresh bread, and unspoken words, something more real than any act began to flicker to life. After settling into the Reynolds estate and her dream kitchen, Emily threw herself into what had kept her awake for years. Drafting the blueprint for her own restaurant. Every morning she sat at the long dining table covered in scribbled notes, kitchen layout sketches, lists of local suppliers, seasonal menu ideas. Mrs. Davis always appeared right on cue, offering her ginger tea or fresh cookies, while Liam lingered in the doorway, silently watching. When Emily looked up, she often found him holding a red pen, correcting a number in her budget spreadsheet. "You're underestimating the cost of fresh ingredient deliveries here," he pointed out, his tone calm like a seasoned investor. Emily frowned, then burst out laughing. "I forgot. Part-time CEO, huh?" "Only when my wife needs me," Liam teased, the word wife making her cheeks flush, though they both knew it was just a label on paper. By day, Emily was a whirlwind, calling contractors, interviewing staff, scheduling meetings with architects. Liam used the Reynolds name to unlock every door, from low-interest loans at the bank to pulling strings with the city's culinary board. By night, when their act began, they transformed into the perfect couple everyone adored. Charity galas, new hotel launch parties, high-end art auctions. Emily clung to Liam's arm, smiled sweetly for cameras, and endured champagne toasts from high society. Whenever someone gushed, "You two were made for each other," Emily would squeeze Liam's hand lightly, their silent pact, play it convincingly. But when the cameras shut off, when the limousine delivered them back to the quiet mansion, something else took root. One late night, Emily couldn't sleep, too many kitchen layouts racing through her mind. She climbed to the rooftop for fresh air, only to find Liam already there, a half-empty bottle of whiskey at his side. "Can't sleep either?" he asked, his voice husky from the chill. Emily pulled her robe tighter and sat beside him. Neither said much. The Las Vegas night wind tangled her hair, brushing it against his shoulder. In that moment, closeness wasn't scripted anymore. He spoke of the burden of being a Reynolds, of the first decisions that got him scolded by his grandfather, of nights he'd fantasized about running away from it all. She told him about the burn scar on her arm, the nights washing dishes to save for her first stock pot, the time her mother trusted her to cook for 20 people without burning a single dish. Those tiny, honest shards shared between whiskey fumes and desert wind blurred the line between pretend and real. When Emily stood up to go back inside, Liam caught her wrist gently. His eyes said everything his mouth wouldn't dare yet. She only smiled, easing her hand free, leaving a space between them, just wide enough to make them both want to bridge it. Ever since rumors of Emily Carter, Liam Reynolds' wife, flooded the media, the two hadn't had a single quiet day. Though each held their own truths close, in public they remained flawless, stepping out of cars hand in hand, exchanging adoring glances, smiling gracefully at every reporter's question. By month's end, they were the guests of honor at the year's biggest charity gala, the Reynolds Charity Gala. Over 300 guests, from politicians to film stars to billionaires, gathered under glittering crystal chandeliers to auction art and pledge millions. Emily wore a teal silk gown Liam had personally picked out. His gaze stayed fixed on her the entire ride from the mansion to the city's most luxurious hotel. "What are you staring at?" Emily asked, trying to sound casual. "My wife. You're so stunning I almost forget this is pretend," Liam murmured, voice low, eyes so sincere they were dangerous. Emily turned away, her heart beat reckless beneath the silk. She reminded herself it was an act, but the warmth of his hand at her waist was far too real. They stepped into the grand hall. Flashbulbs burst like fireworks. Every whisper, every glance pinned on them, the Reynolds heir and his mysterious bride. But within minutes, a familiar silhouette cut through the space between them. Vanessa Monroe. Vanessa wore a daring red gown, her features as sculpted as ever, lips curved in a victor's smile. She was Liam's ex, the one who once believed the Reynolds name would be hers forever. "Emily," Vanessa cooed sweetly, laying a hand brazenly on Liam's arm. "We haven't been properly introduced. I'm Vanessa, Liam's old friend." Emily nodded politely. "A pleasure." "Darling, didn't you tell her about Bali?" Vanessa turned to Liam, her voice smooth as silk. "That 2-week getaway a couple of years back. Unforgettable, wasn't it?" Emily felt a chill crawl up her spine. Liam's gaze stayed steady, but the hand at her waist tightened. His silent message, "Don't believe a word she says." All evening, Vanessa drifted around them like a beautiful but poisonous shadow. Every story, every accidental touch was a needle under Emily's skin. She bit back every reaction, smile intact. She knew this game. Dig up old ghosts to unseat the present. When the auction ended, Emily quietly slipped out to the balcony for air, seeking refuge in the glittering Vegas night. Neon lights flickered on the horizon, a city of secrets and fragile promises. She jumped slightly when Liam found her there, shutting the balcony door behind him, shutting out the gala's noise. "You okay?" he asked, voice low and rough. "Fine," she lied. They both knew it. The night breeze tangled her hair. Liam lifted a stray strand from her cheek, so tenderly her heart lost its rhythm. His eyes locked on hers. The space between them shrank to a breath. "Emily." He whispered her name for the first time without any teasing. She said nothing. His warm breath ghosted over her lips. For one suspended heartbeat, the world faded. Just him, her, and a kiss waiting to shatter them. But the balcony door swung open. Vanessa appeared like a crimson ghost. "Oh, am I interrupting?" she asked, faux innocence dripping from every syllable, triumph gleaming in her eyes. Emily stepped back, her chest hollow. Liam stood frozen, hand falling limp at his side. The moment dissolved like a dream, but its taste would haunt them for the rest of the night. Back inside the ballroom, they danced, smiled, laughed for the cameras. Yet every touch felt unfinished, every glance too sharp to hold. After the gala night, neither of them spoke about the balcony moment. Emily told herself it was just a fragment in their script, rudely interrupted by Vanessa, erased before it could bloom. But the truth was, from that instant on, something between her and Liam had undeniably shifted, though they still performed as the perfect married couple. In the days that followed, Emily kept her distance. She buried herself in the kitchen, obsessing over experimental menus, meeting architects, scouting prime locations for her restaurant. She stayed so busy that all she could manage, when Liam asked, "You okay?" in front of staff, was a tired nod. But Liam couldn't pretend so easily. He watched her more, lingering in the doorway just to see her taste her sauces. Every night he tried to strike up small talk, but Emily would gently close her bedroom door before the air between them turned too warm. All that fragile distance shattered on a rare, rainy afternoon in Las Vegas. Emily had just finished an interview with a respected food journalist, thrilled that her project would finally get good press. But when she checked her phone, her heart crashed to the floor. Online, an anonymous account had leaked a series of photos. Liam with his arm around Vanessa Monroe on the gala sidelines, captioned, "Wife just a cover. Reynolds reunites with ex." Thousands of shares, countless snide comments. "Knew it, the chef is just a placeholder. Vanessa's always been the real Mrs. Reynolds." Emily gripped her phone, her ears ringing. Every ounce of pride about being the smart, independent, fake wife who'd soon open her own restaurant crumbled in seconds. She locked herself in her room, bolted the door. The scent of onions still clinging to her hands suddenly made her stomach twist. The door flew open without a knock. Liam barged in, his face storm-dark, phone in hand. He shoved the screen in front of her. Same photo, same toxic caption. "Do you trust me?" His voice was low, ragged, strangled by rage. Emily laughed, the sound brittle, splintering toward tears. "You think trust is something I can just conjure up on demand? This is my life, Liam, my reputation, built from zero." "I did nothing wrong," Liam snapped. He stepped closer, too close, forcing her back until her hips bumped the table. "Vanessa staged this. She knows how to craft a scandal to pull me back. You think I want her? I chose you, Emily." Those 3 words, "I chose you," jolted her heart, but reason yanked her back. She shook her head, hand bracing against his chest. "Don't, Liam. I can't. I won't let this get messier. You're a Reynolds. I'm just a chef, borrowing your name for my dream. That's all." But Liam's eyes no longer belonged to a man playing pretend. They burned with longing, frustration, and something painfully real. He murmured, "I'll prove it to you. No one, not even Vanessa, can pull me away from you." Emily didn't get to respond. Liam was already gone, leaving her alone with the rain lashing the glass and a heartbeat thudding with something she no longer dared to name. That rare Las Vegas rain drummed against Emily's window, cold fingers tapping the glass as if urging her to open up what she'd buried deep. She sat curled up in the armchair by the window, forehead resting against the fogged pane. Beside her lay a thin folder, the divorce papers Liam's lawyer had prepared the day they made their bargain. Raindrops traced winding paths down the glass, twisting, breaking apart, just like the fragile armor she'd wrapped around her heart, now splintering. I told myself it was pretend. I warned my heart not to feel, but the second he said, "I chose you," all of that fell apart. She let out a soft, bitter laugh, as empty as the rain outside. Her trembling fingers grazed the edge of the divorce papers. The typed names, Emily Carter, Liam Reynolds, slammed into her chest like a blade made of ice. I love him. I've loved him since he took my hand in front of the cameras, since he stood behind me in that kitchen, since he defied his grandfather just to shield me. But what good was love? She was Emily Carter, the girl who sold 6 months of her life for a restaurant. He was Reynolds, the heir trapped between duty and freedom. They both had roads to walk alone. Any path toward each other felt reckless, impossible. Thunder rolled in the distance. Streetlights blurred through the rain coating the glass. Emily rubbed her eyes, but it didn't clear the sting at the corners. If I were braver, if I weren't so afraid of losing everything, I'd tell him, "Don't sign this." But I'm not brave enough. She folded the paper and pressed it to her chest like shielding a wound too raw to expose. Tears slipped down, soaking the ink of signatures not yet dry. Outside, the rain kept its mournful rhythm, whispering that dawn would come, but maybe it would come without Liam by her side. The rain had cleared by dawn. Las Vegas awoke under a gray sky, streaks of morning light glinting off the wooden floor, still heavy with last night's dampness. Emily sat frozen by the window, the divorce papers laid neat and accusing on the coffee table, a blade waiting to carve open her carefully built walls. A soft knock broke the silence. Before she could answer, Liam pushed the door open. He wore a crisp black suit, tie straight, but his eyes betrayed the exhaustion of a man who hadn't slept all night. "We need to talk." His voice was raw but steady, velvet wrapped around steel. Emily didn't look at him. She nudged the paper closer. "What's left to say? You have it. Just sign it. End it clean." Liam stared at the document, then at her, his gaze so deep she had to look away or drown in it. Slowly, he stepped forward and plucked the papers off the table. "Signed?" "Sure," he murmured, his tone laced with self-mockery. Emily started to protest, but the words stuck in her throat as Liam suddenly crushed the paper in his hand and tore it apart. The sound of ripping paper cut through the tense air like a thunderclap. "Liam, what are you doing?" Emily rushed forward to grab the scraps, but too late. He shredded them into worthless pieces that fluttered to the floor. "I'm destroying it." Liam's eyes locked onto hers, fierce and unyielding. "I'm done pretending I don't love you. I'm done calculating when to let you go. I'm not letting go anymore." Emily stumbled back, trembling. "You're insane. Everything will fall apart. Your family will... Vanessa will..." "Vanessa?" Liam let out a low laugh, rough with bitterness. "She's the past. You're my now and my future. If you'll have me." He stepped closer, gripping her shoulders, forcing her to meet his eyes. "This afternoon, I'm telling the world I choose you. Not as a fake wife, not as a shield, as the woman I want beside me to the very end." "Liam, don't..." Her voice shook, tears pooling. She didn't dare believe, didn't dare hope again. "Don't what?" Liam whispered, leaning in, his breath mingling with hers, gentle yet scorching. "Don't love you? Too late, Emily Carter." He pulled her into his arms, his fingers sliding through her hair like calming a frightened bird. In that embrace, Emily heard her heart hammer wildly, but she no longer had the will to pull away. The shredded divorce papers lay wet at their feet, meaningless now, because between them nothing remained but one bare, blazing word: love. Noon sunlight scorched the glass facade of the Reynolds Grand Hotel. Inside its grand hall, over 50 reporters crowded in front of a podium emblazoned with the Reynolds crest, an empire so mighty that even a whisper could shake markets. Emily sat in the front row, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The sharp scent of expensive cologne, the click-click of cameras, the low hum of whispered gossip, they all pierced her like needles, yet she didn't blink. On stage, Liam stepped forward. His black suit was flawless, tie knotted tight, but his eyes, the same eyes that had locked with hers on the rainy balcony in a kitchen rich with garlic and onion, were unchanged, fixed on her alone. He began, "Thank you all for coming. I, Liam Reynolds, stand here today to share something far more important than any stock price or inheritance." Below him, dozens of phones lifted high, flashes exploding against his face. Emily could hear her heartbeat echo in her ribs. Every pulse a cut, then a bomb. "Rumors claim my wife, Emily Carter, is just a cover story, that I'm still seeing Vanessa Monroe. I'm here to end it now. I never betrayed Emily. We started as a deal, but we chose each other. For real." The room rippled with shock. A wave of murmurs rose like thunder. An older reporter yelled over the din, "Mr. Reynolds, this confession could crash your company's stock. What are you doing?" Liam turned his head, eyes locked with the cameras, his voice a hammer, driving truth into stone. "I'm resigning from my position on the Reynolds Group board. I don't need a seat at the top if the cost is losing this woman." The hall erupted, flash after blinding flash. Emily heard nothing but her own ragged breath. A gentle hand touched her shoulder. Liam had stepped off the stage, striding straight toward her. Ignoring the crowd shouting his name, he bent down, whispering low, just for her. "I have nothing left but you. If you want to leave, I won't stop you, but I hope you'll stay." Emily lifted her gaze. Flashbulbs burned behind him, hundreds of eyes like needles. But in that heartbeat, there was only them. She rose, her trembling hand cupping his cheek. Then, before every lens in the room, she kissed him. Their first kiss that wasn't part of any act, but a promise. She chose him, too. Opening night at Emily Carter arrived in a heartbeat. All the sleepless nights testing dishes, oil-smudged blueprints rewritten a dozen times, and every whispered doubt now faded under the glow of warm lights spilling over the oak sign engraved with her name, Emily Carter, her fingerprint stamped on this city. Inside, the aroma of fresh cornbread, her signature mole sauce, and the cheerful murmur of guests wove together into a symphony of triumph. Top food critics, seasoned chefs, bloggers, and TV crews all waited to taste the dream that once belonged to a girl washing dishes to buy her first pot. Among the VIP seats, alongside Richard Reynolds Sr., the once unyielding patriarch who'd balked at his heir marrying an unknown chef, sat Maria Carter, Emily's mother. She wore a soft blue dress, hands clutched around her purse, eyes shining with tears she didn't bother to hide. While Emily greeted guest after guest, Maria stood back, watching her daughter like seeing her own youth rewritten in spices, the clang of knives on chopping boards, and Emily's smile beaming in her element. Richard Sr. leaned slightly towards Maria, his gruff tone softened by a rare smile. "You raised an extraordinary woman?" Maria squeezed his hand gently. "And you have a grandson who knows what matters most: happiness." On stage, Emily took a deep breath to thank everyone, her voice trembling as she fought back tears. In that rain of camera flashes, her eyes found her mother in the back, nodding, eyes glistening, sending a silent squeeze of the hand from afar. "I'm proud of you." At the bar, Liam rolled up his sleeves, never looking away from Emily. All their games, pretenses, and scripted lines vanished into the savory air of traditional Mexican fare. The night ended with a roar of applause, guests raising glasses to Emily Carter, a name now destined to linger in this city's memory. As the last guests trickled out, Emily stayed behind, fussing with her spice rack the way she always did to steady her racing heart. Familiar arms slipped around her shoulders. Liam, his breath carrying hints of wine and pride. "Your restaurant, your people, your triumph," Liam whispered, his lips brushing her ear. "Only one thing missing. Emily Carter." Before she could turn, he stepped back and dropped to one knee, right in the warm kitchen that had witnessed strangers become everything to each other. From his pocket, he pulled a velvet box. Inside, a diamond ring gleamed under the golden lights. No conditions, just proof of something real. "You were my wife once, for a contract. This time, be my wife for love. Will you?" Emily let out a shaky laugh, tears rolling freely as she nodded over and over, her hand pressed to her belly where life already fluttered inside. At the kitchen door, her mother covered her mouth, tears streaming down, but her smile as wide as the moon. "Yes, I will. No conditions, no contract, just love." And that night, the restaurant bearing Emily Carter's name sealed a new chapter, a true marriage, a dream made whole, and a family built on warmth, courage, and an unwavering heart. After that proposal in their dream kitchen, life for Emily and Liam settled into a quiet happiness no contract could ever contain. Each morning, Emily still woke up first to brew coffee and whip up breakfast herself. Despite having a full team running Emily Carter, he always rose earlier than usual too, just to watch her stir cocoa into her morning café de olla, a secret smile tugging at his lips when she sprinkled extra cinnamon just for him. Everyone thought they'd already reached the peak of happiness, but life, as always, had a sweeter surprise in store. One morning, Emily held a pregnancy test in trembling hands. 2 vivid pink lines. She hadn't yet found the words when Liam walked in. He didn't say anything either. He just pulled her into his arms, chin quivering against her hair, the proud Reynolds heir, undone by the simple fact that he was going to be a father. Throughout her pregnancy, Emily was never alone. Liam canceled trips, scribbled down meal plans, even learned to make chicken soup at midnight when cravings hit. Then the big day came. The entire maternity wing heard Liam's soft murmurs as he clutched her hand tight, silently begging to bear the pain for her if he could. And when newborn cries pierced the air, not one but 2, a pair of chubby twin girls, cheeks rosy and perfect, Emily, exhausted but beaming, watched Liam cradle both miracles against his chest, his eyes glassy yet shimmering like a sunlit lake. Those first nights, Liam barely slept, pacing the nursery, checking on Emily, soothing soft baby whimpers. This man, who once thought wealth was power, now knew his richest fortune was right here, his wife and 2 tiny daughters. On a lazy weekend morning, in their familiar kitchen, Emily balanced one baby on her hip while Liam wore the other in a snug carrier across his chest. Together, they giggled over pancake batter, the breakfast table now wider to fit tiny chairs that would soon hold giggling twins. Sunlight streamed through the window, casting the shadow of 4 onto the warm wooden floor. A family complete, born from a mistake once upon a Vegas night, and stitched together with a love meant to last a lifetime.